Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. This week is maybe not the most fun and easy walk in the park type of week ever. There are some pretty tense, harsh aspects going on specifically to get the week started, but honestly, the whole week is just kind of weird. We open on Monday with an exact Mars Saturn square happening. That's traditionally known to be one of the most treacherous aspects in all of astrology. So, proceeding with just some caution, going slow, not setting the bar too high this week, that may be kind of the best that we can do. We also have a Mercury black moon conjunction that's exact this week that will be opposite Uranus. We also have Neptune stationing direct this week, so an amplified Neptunian energy, and Mars is also coming into a square with Neptune. There could be some fears, you guys, this week that are limiting us or controlling us or presenting some type of self-doubt. Could be overwhelming, a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, and it may just be some trying times out there, but it's all right. We're going to get through it. With the strong Neptunian influence, one thing that we need to remember is that a lot of whatever the challenges, especially the more internal challenges are presenting this week, are more so illusions than they are actual factual reality. So don't get caught up in some illusion of failure or weakness or victimhood or all the reasons why you can't this week. It could just be one of those kind of weeks, and we got some things to talk about, you guys. So let's get into the report. Let's put it all together, see if we can get a better idea of how things may be playing out as we get our week started and head through the week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this video, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We have a lot to talk about. As I mentioned in my intro, I also talked about this in my weekend video. It could be a sort of tense or intense, conflict-oriented, overwhelming, maybe unusual week. We do open the week with these harsh aspects going on. First of all, the square 90-degree angle between Saturn ruling control and authority and limitations, and Mars, obviously Lord of War, the fire planet, and also ruling the self and the ego and our energy and our motivation and our drive, coming up into a, perfect square with one another. Squares tend to produce some type of challenge or conflict that needs to be overcome. So the nature of the energy getting our week started is just kind of conflict oriented. Again, perhaps a bit tense or hostile. Obviously, when we talk about pressure, that's associated with Saturn energy. When we talk about heat, that's associated with Mars energy. So I've been calling this kind of like a pressure cooker energy. You could feel like the heat is on, or you're under some type of pressure, or things are being pushed to some type of boiling point or point of eruption or explosion, that pressurized heat could be kind of just a vibe this week. But pressure also makes diamonds, so there could be some valuable lessons to be learned here. And we do have an ability, I feel kind of what this energy is asking for is for us to gain maybe a greater level of discernment in terms of, maybe some personal truths as opposed to some external illusions, okay? Because we're talking about the Saturnian energy in the sign of Pisces having to do with fantasies and illusions and belief systems and distorted perceptions and stuff like that of a controlling nature. And then we're talking about Mars in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the self in this more truth, expansion, freedom based energy. And it's also freedom and restriction. When we're dealing with Mars and Sagittarius, Saturn and Pisces, it's also growth and restraint or limitation. And it could be bringing up a lot of self-doubts, a lot of questions. Maybe the inner critic could be speaking quite loudly this week, questioning our capabilities, a sense of inadequacy. maybe some type of like victim complex, feeling like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, or everything's stacked against us, or we're just kind of like up against a wall somehow. So any and all of those things, you guys, could be a bit of a vibe as we're stepping into the energy of Monday. And, just to take it up a notch, we also have an exact Mercury Black Moon conjunction that's going to hit on Wednesday that is simultaneously building throughout the middle of the week, and that alignment is occurring in exact opposition to Uranus, another harsh aspect going on, hitting exactly. So we've got Monday and Tuesday, the Mars Saturn square. On Wednesday, we've got Black Moon Mercury opposite Uranus. And both of those energies, honestly, like another thing they could be doing is triggering some fears that are functioning maybe as some type of blockage or limitation or restriction or something that we want to gain some type of freedom from or over or something like that. So people could be acting, okay, in some very unexpected ways, very eruptive ways, very shocking ways. I think anger issues could be a thing this week. Also, people like suppressing or repressing anger, maybe to the point of it just exploding out. And yeah, I mean, then when we add the Neptune element in that's coming later in the week as well, like it's just a little bit crazy making, if you know what I mean. This is not a good week. What you don't want to do this week is like set your bar super, super high for like all of the things that you're going to do and all the things that you're going to accomplish, and, needing to be able to do that in order to like not feel like you're a total and utter failure or something like that. Like we need to not validate our own worth based on like other people's opinions or other people's critiques or criticisms this week. It could be just generally a week where we're experiencing some type of like judgment or criticism or analysis or testing or something like that from an authority figure or, somebody who's in charge of us, or like a boss or employer has power over us in some capacity. And a lot is likely to be, as I was saying in my intro, more of an actual illusion of, fear or restriction or blockage or restraint or failure than something that is actually going to translate into like a long-term permanent reality or situation. There's definitely a level of illusion, a distorted self-perception, distorted projection of the future maybe based on that distortion in, our capabilities or our willpower or what we can and can't really get done or do. So don't be too hard on yourself this week. The world is likely to be hard enough as it is. And also like don't set yourself up for failure by creating these expectations or putting yourself in a position where you like really need to perform to the best of your abilities or something like that somehow, if it's not something that you like actually genuinely legitimately like have to do. Now, the way that this energy works, life is likely to be presenting us with, some of those scenarios anyways, because it's just like the nature of the energy right now. So you may find yourself at a point this week where you just genuinely do have to perform to a high level or get a lot done or like impress somebody like that, and that could be bringing the pressure, that could be bringing the heat, that could be bringing the overwhelm or the like just hyped up responsibility that we feel like is restricting us in some way. Like it could be like legitimately something like that is like a circumstance or presenting itself. But I'm just saying, like, if you don't already have that on the schedule, don't go out there creating it for yourself if it's not something that like absolutely is dire and needs to be done this week. This is an energy where we are best to pace ourselves, to like have some caution, to be as practical as we can be, to be very careful and precise about the way that we're moving, the way that we're speaking, the way that we are orienting ourselves in a world and going about whatever it is that we need to get done. Like carelessness and rushing and like being too impulsive about things, this is not where you are likely to get the best results this week. Okay, so Monday and Tuesday likely to be the most like strenuous or stressful days of the week, because that is when the Mars Saturn square is exact. As we move into Wednesday, definitely a potential for some type of I don't know, like hectic, chaotic energy, like maybe things triggering fears, coming up against something that we got to deal with. And again, like people maybe acting super erratic and uncharacteristic of like their standard behavior. And then as we get towards the end of the week, again, Neptune is going to station direct, and Mars at the same time is going to be now building into a square with Neptune, which we'll go into much more detail about as we get towards the end of the week. But this is probably going to be having a building impact as well. You may be feeling drained, you strained, burned out big time, like exhausted, generally just over it, like you just want to escape from something, avoid something, not get involved, or like you just don't have the energy to give anymore. It is a good week, again, especially as we get towards the end of the week, and a lot of people are probably just going to be inherently finding themselves in this place, but getting more rest if you can, and again, like not pushing too hard is going to be more beneficial than like spinning your wheels and doing the most and then like having to deal with the fact that like you still didn't get it all done, and now you're internalizing that and feeling like a failure. Like, again, we don't want to put ourselves in a position to, not perform our best and then have to deal with the emotional consequences of that. Like, if we didn't have to do that in the first place, and we could have just kind of like tried to coast a little bit more through the week, take it a little bit easier, maybe take a little nap or get some extra sleep or put ourselves in timeout or just like take a bit of a chill pill. So that's my advice as we are opening this report. But energy could feel heavy. It could feel slow. There could also be the sense of like nervousness, nervous tension, anxiety, or again, like some type of shocking news, strange interaction, people kind of losing their marbles a little bit. Just be prepared, or rather just be advised. It could be an unusual week. So let's talk about Monday now, more detail, getting the week started. As I said, we've got this Mars-Saturn exact square going on, Mars in Sagittarius, Saturn in Pisces, mutable sign square. This is transitional energy, okay? Like change is happening as a result of whatever it is that we've got to come up against this week. But it is bringing the heat, it is bringing the pressure. Luckily, the moon is not involved in this square, which is a rare occurrence, let me tell you, because generally whenever I've noticed all of my years of doing this now, whenever we've got kind of like a big significant energetic activation going on, the moon is usually in some way involved. And when we've got the moon involved in any ongoing aspect or transit, this like amplifies the energy of that aspect. And so we've kind of dodged a bullet in some regard, considering the moon's placement while we've got this exact square happening Monday and Tuesday. Now, we will start out the day on Monday, though, with the moon in Leo in an opposition to Pluto. So this is still an intense energy, and this could still be like kind of a power struggle situation going on. Could be really just like very intense or very passionate about something. However, as the day goes on, the moon will continue to move through the sign of Leo and form a trine to Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, fire sign trine between the moon and Venus. I do think that this is going to an extent, be tempering, kind of this like inherent hostility that's present when we've got a Mars-Saturn square going on. It may help to calm things down a little bit. It should actually, the moon in Leo trining Venus and Sagittarius, this is like party time energy. Like this is great for, it's very charismatic, it's very social, it's like great for like networking and schmoozing and like whining and dining and charm, right? And attraction and magnetism and charisma, and very entertaining, very like sparkly energy. So this is positive, okay, for like the relations between people, associates, friends. Could be again like very good for networking or making some type of connection on the side of things. But we do still of course have the Mars Saturn square, which could be weighing things down for sure. Now, we're talking about Mars and Sagittarius. This is motivated to expand, motivation. Mars is our motivation, energy being put towards growth, expansion, pursuing some passion, wisdom, truth, and it can also bring a sense of self-righteousness and self-aggrandizement. Some people could really be in their egos as well when we've got the Mars Sagittarius situation going on, because Mars is the ego, Mars is the self, and Sagittarius, this expands things. It's ruled by Jupiter, and it is kind of sometimes like with Mars there, it can be kind of like a larger than life type of energy. So, there could be things related to the ego that are also maybe causing some issues in this energy. But generally, when we're talking about Mars and Sag, that is like passion to be free, to grow, to learn, to expand, to like branch out, to stuff like that, okay? But when we've got this harsh aspect going on with Saturn and Pisces, this is rules, laws, orders, boundaries, limitation, authority, control, and in the sign of Pisces, the associated beliefs, ideologies, fantasies, and perceptions that are associated with them. This is also about the past and how things have been. Saturn is the Lord of time, the Lord of karma, and Pisces is like the completion of something. And Mars and Sagittarius is again like the driving force behind something that is fresh and like that is emerging, expansion, growth, and new things that are being initiated or that are becoming. So it's like what we're trying to drive forward, maybe what we're trying to get going, what we're trying to initiate on, kind of like coming up against something that's making us slam on brakes or like hitting a wall somehow. So some type of drive to expand and to grow in conflict with some type of previously established law or order or belief or limitation. So growth and limitation, freedom and restriction, illusion and truth. This is the type of thing that we're talking about. These are the type of things that you may be dealing with, or, different versions of those same concepts. There could be some pretty serious power struggles, clashes of wills, issues with authority, pressures, burdens, responsibilities, and this could also then therefore be bringing up these questions and these doubts about whether or not we can do it, whether or not it's possible, whether or not we're just fooling ourselves, you know what I mean? So just be aware, okay? And again, we don't want to get overly attached to the more pessimistic side of this energy because it's probably just not quite an accurate representation of the truth. With this aspect in play, as I was saying earlier, going slow, having caution, paying attention, the more thoroughly and carefully you perform any task this week, the better it's likely to go. The carelessness, the scattered energy scattered energy input is generally not going to get you what you want, okay? It is likely to be more frustrating, likely to be more irritating, and it could seem like all of your efforts to assert yourself in some way, means, direction are just being blocked somehow. This could also be a very frustrating week to have errands to do or to be out. If you've got to traffic and stuff could kind of be a nightmare throughout the course of the week, especially the early week as well. And again, these surfacing fears that could become some type of issue. The Mercury black moon conjunction opposite Uranus could be triggering these fears of failure, fears of loss, fears of inadequacy that are already present as a result of the Mars-Saturn square. So feeling personally limited somehow, again, maybe having questions about whether or not we are truly capable of the things that we're kind of pushing for, or the goals that we've set at this point in time could be coming up again. Most of these fears are actually more imaginary than we can possibly perceive or understand as we're moving through them. The challenge here is going to be to recognize who you really are and some maybe personal truth of a situation without being overwhelmed by this false or imaginary fear or self-concept that is likely to seem very real this week. There could also be old wounds to the ego, to our sense of self, to our personal identity that are coming up or very apparent to us, or that, are kind of getting pressed on for some reason this week as well, that we need to conquer, that we need to deal with, that we need to overcome, that we need to heal, or that we're having some type of an awakening to. Things could go that way also. And another element of this, as I was mentioning earlier, could be just a greater than average experience maybe of discouragement or criticism from authority figures, parents, bosses, employers, people that you just kind of like generally look up to or expect, maybe some like harsh judgment or something that could obviously further compound some of these internal issues that we may already be dealing with. But again, even if that is the case, you guys, as I've like said a couple times by now in this report, do your best not to define yourself by that. Do your best not to need other people's validation this week in order to like know that you are capable of achieving your goals. You can get through it, even if things feel heavy, even if things feel overwhelming, even if they do feel impossible this week. We just don't need, like, it's going to be probably difficult enough to like navigate the inner critic without, really making what other people have to say out there about whatever we're doing, which are likely to be largely projections of their own insecurities and stuff like that as well, because everybody's dealing with it. You don't need to make it your own. Okay, so if it's constructive criticism, if it can help you do better and be better, and if it shows you maybe the flaws in something that you need to correct, absolutely all day, we're here for it. But if it is just like not helping and kind of like just like exacerbating things, like maybe not allowing to penetrate so deeply, could be of benefit this week. Okay, another dimension of this energy really kind of has to do, as I was saying earlier, with being able to maintain an ability to discern a level of personal truth in the context or in the midst of maybe all of these external illusions or issues that are like coloring our judgment and perception of things right now, and maybe again bringing up these questions or these doubts or these fears or whatever. Okay, so we are trying to keep a hold, all right, of like the personal truths that we've been aligning with and that we know that we want to move towards, regardless of the challenges that are whirling around out there this week. And realizing also, of course, that because a lot of people are going to be going through it, a lot of people are going to be dealing with these issues, most people are going to be encountering these issues from lack of conscious awareness of where they're coming from and what it's all really about, frustrations, people being very highly irritable, easily angered as well, and again, like maybe dealing with it in different ways. For some people, it's going to be manifesting as depression and like just not avoidance and like not wanting to even participate, even to be involved. Other people are going to be holding it in like to the point of eruption and explosion. Other people are just like not going to be controlling their anger or their energy well, and maybe exerting a lot of control over people and places and situations around them. Explosions, eruptions, anger, frustrations, irritability, lack of patience. A lot of these things could be going on. However, as I was saying earlier, being meticulous in our work, that would actually be a beneficial way to use this energy. If there's a project that you need to work on, if there's something that you're involved in, if there's something that you're trying to build or to form or to create, the more precise and meticulous and detail-oriented, that careful that you are in the execution of those tasks, the better your results are going to be. So there is a positive way to use this energy, but it really has to do with slowing ourselves down and being very, very measured in the movements that we make in the expressions of our energy this week. The conflict between wanting to hold on to something and also wanting to break free of something could be a theme as well. All of this put together makes, of course, a week that is just likely not to be the easiest to successfully accomplish things and get things done. Again, unless you are being, very, very responsible and like diligent and patient and all of that in your approach. Okay, the best way to handle this energy may also be to confront ourselves over these issues, really have that honest like inner discussion with ourselves, as opposed to, again, trying to initiate anything external in the world and expecting it to go super well. This is a great week also for figuring out maybe like how to discipline ourselves better, or how to organize the use of our energy better. Getting things in order as well, like using our energy to make things more streamlined, make things more organized, make things like systemically flow better in order to get a better result, solving problems in that capacity, overcoming obstacles or overcoming blocks to our ability to move forward through like doing things a new way, or putting some effort into like solving problems that have been creating blockages or restrictions. That may also be a beneficial way to use this energy as well. So that's Monday and Tuesday, you guys. Again, the moon is transiting through Leo and is not playing into this energetic dynamic. I'll talk a little bit more about the moon in a minute, but that Mars Saturn square could be kind of an intense, like very perceptible vibe, especially of course if you've got planets mid-range of mutable signs, because that is where that is happening. We've actually got the end of mutable signs. We've got Mars at 26 degrees of Sag squaring Saturn at 26 Pisces. So if you've got planets between 20 degrees and the end of the sign, mutable signs, you may be picking up on this, or kind of like experiencing the most challenges associated with this square. But generally it's a very collective aspect, and I just think it's kind of going to be characterizing the nature of things to get the week started. Again, like things may be moving slow. Then the Mercury Black Moon conjunction opposite Uranus. We're going to be talking a lot more about this in the next video. Also, in combination with this incoming Neptunian energy and the Mars squaring Neptune, the fears that are surfacing, maybe figuring out where they're stemming from, getting to the bottom of some things, like figuring out, what's been going on, or what the like core root issue of something is. But illusions, a lot of these fears, again, are going to be more illusory than actually legitimate and real, but that's not going to stop them from triggering a lot of actions based in this clouded vision that may have people acting real erratic, and avoidance also, honestly. Like there's a lot of escapism that I feel like is going on this week, trying to avoid a situation, trying to escape a situation, trying to get out of a situation, trying to like cut ties with something, or like ghost something, or make something disappear somehow. And again, like doubts, questions, instability, insecurity, overwhelm, feeling maybe criticized, feeling judged, not wanting to participate, not wanting to play the game. With the moon in Leo trining Venus, this is as I was saying earlier, it is positive for social relations. It is positive for relationships. Very creative energy, very fun energy, like creative self-expression. Again, like people, schmoozing and, being out and about and like getting on relatively well. But there is just likely to be some type of an interference component going on. Now, on Tuesday, the moon continues to move through in transit the sign of Leo, builds into actually a trine with Chiron in Aries and the sun in Sagittarius, while the Mars-Neptune square continues to play out, and we have Mercury and the Black Moon building into an even tighter conjunction. They're only 1 degree out on Tuesday, and Uranus, of course, is in the exact opposition to the Black Moon. We've been talking about that since last week. Another thing that we've got going on Tuesday into Wednesday is the moon joining the party, and the moon is going to be participating in the exact Mercury Black Moon Uranus alignment that's coming in on Wednesday. The moon in Leo is going to be square, forming a fixed sign T square with that opposition of planets, conjunction / opposition of planets. So on Wednesday, Tuesday into Wednesday, again, we'll be talking about this more in the next video, but people could be being real dramatic, in terms of the way that they're being like triggered and acting out. The moon coming into the square like that is going to supercharge the already quite, I don't know, maybe like shocking or intense or electrifying connection going on between the black moon, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, shadow side issues, things that have been hidden, things that have been obscured, things that we don't have a full and clear understanding of, and Mercury, the messenger planet, talking about it, thinking about it, focused on it, learning about it. Opposite Uranus, the Great Awakener, shocks and surprises, making these sudden, unexpected, shocking changes, like lightning bolt energy coming through here. And then with the square from the moon in Leo, it just seems like things could be a little bit dramatic, okay? Tuesday, but especially moving into Wednesday. So this could just be a week, you guys. Like, this could just be one of those weeks. Lots of internal issues that we're dealing with, maybe lots of external issues that we're dealing with as well. Maybe old or childhood wounds or patterns or conditionings or ways that we've been conditioned, like coming up, being triggered, playing out, causing, maybe some of these like extreme or shocking or dramatic reactions or responses to things. Hostility, stress, overwhelm, overload. Again, like feelings of doubt and stuff like that. This is, I would say, and it feels like a kind of fragile, delicate energy, to be honest with you. I do think that people are likely to be a bit on edge out there, and not the week to plan, to accomplish too much if you don't absolutely have to. Don't set your expectations too high if you don't absolutely have to. Don't put additional pressure on yourself to perform this week. There's likely to be enough of that going on out there anyways, without like doubling down and setting some kind of just like what may generally be reasonable expectations for yourself, but just for whatever reason in the energy of this week, they're not. So getting through the week with a measure of care, caution, precision, probably the best goal I think that we can set for ourselves this week. Like, this is one of those weeks where we just want to make it through it. And if you do that, and if you hold it all together, and if you handle and respond to the situations in the best way you can, just give yourself a pat on the back for that, because it's just, we have these once in a while, or at least the energy field presents them once in a while. And, this is just one of those weeks. So that's what I have to say. We also, on Monday to start the week, and I found this to be very fitting as well, have the Earth at 17 degrees of the sign of Gemini, the state of things here on the ground. That Sabian symbol is the head of a robust youth, changes into that of a mature thinker, which just seems like the direction that things may be going this week. There is a need maybe to like be more mature again, or like be more measured, or be more practical, or like rein it in a little bit somehow. That could be, going on out there. So that symbol may hold some relevance to you this week as well. And that is what I have to say, you guys, for the astrology. Now we are going to get into the tarot reading to get our week started. And you know what? We had, there are some very interesting themes coming through here in the context of this tarot reading. Now, I will say, just like off the bat, before we get into the major interpretation, there are twos. Again, I've been talking about this. I was talking about this in some of my videos for last week, the Gemini full moon video. Like, there just seems to be two things happening at once here. The balance of things, options, choices, decisions, kind of like teetering back and forth between things, the past and the future, like one foot in one world, one foot in another, going back and forth between things somehow, or, two specific options or something being both on the table, or like this could have to do with pairs or partnerships or collaborations and stuff like that as well. There's also an energy of transparency that seems to be coming through here. I literally have 3 of the cards that came out today with naked people on them, which makes me think that like things are being revealed, or things are like transparent, or maybe some type of like naked truth of a situation being exposed, coming out, seeing the truth about something, like seeing something for what it really is, dropping the facade. I don't know. So before we even like get into the interpretation, those are some themes that were just like jumping out at me based on the cards that are present here. Aside from that, let's just like get into the reading. First of all, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Lovers coming out. Secondly, we have the Six of Pentacles and the Star card. Then we also have the Sun. Okay, it actually came out in reverse, but I think it's more about like the direction of things and how they're changing. And also we've got a lot of Black Moon energy going on this week. So, seeing the darker side of things, okay, as I was saying, could be a theme. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Seven of Cups in reverse and the Justice card. And, you know, as I was saying, like we've got Justice right here where we've got scales, things going back and forth. We have like literally the Lovers card, which is obviously about choices and decisions and pairs and couples and two of things and, you know, striking a balance. And we've also got the Six of Pentacles, which also is holding scales and is about like reciprocity and balancing things out and like what's fair and what's not. There's definitely themes of balance and fairness, or things being brought to a better place of balance or fairness somehow going on. So those, and then we've got the Lovers, right, where we've got these people standing here unclothed. We've also got the Star, and we've also got the Sun. So themes of things being, you know, weighed back and forth, perhaps, again, like choices or decisions, and also like the transparency of a situation, all of that. Now, we start with the Five of Pentacles and the Lovers card. There could be some type of collaboration or some type of choice or some type of decision or some type of pairing or matching or coupling or something like that that has the impact of like actually helping us to move out or transcend a state of like previous limitation or previous self-doubt or feeling like cast out or disconnected. Like there could be something that, you know, happens or goes on throughout the course of the week that really makes us consider maybe what we've been lacking in the context of like what it is that we could have or what we're moving towards. And I also say that because we go from the Five of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles after this Lover card. So like there could definitely be some like beneficial pairings or beneficial connections that come in this week that take us from a place of feeling like empty or on the outside or just coming from a place of lack to like something being rebalanced somehow. And then the Star card came through with the Six of Pentacles. So this is also maybe like re-inspiring us, reinstilling a sense of faith. These could be like divine alignments, okay? That are increasing the value of something, that are helping to rebalance things somehow, that are like reminding us of our worth, that are maybe helping us to step out of like maybe feeling like it's like us against the world, or you know, we're never going to make it or we're never going to fit in. There could just be some type of beneficial or like inspired connection or choice or decision or opportunity or person or something that is coming in right now that is actually going to be beneficial in helping us to like reorient our self-perception somehow. And again, and then we've got the Star or the Sun card. It did come out in reverse, but like it seems like, especially in the context of these cards right here, something bringing us through a process maybe of bringing us back to life on some level. We may find ourselves staring a bit into the shadows, of course, you know, to get the week started, but there's just likely to be something about the way that things are rebalancing themselves here that helps to instill a greater sense of like faith, or that helps to like re-inspire us somehow, or remind us of who we truly are, or who we once were. Also, again, like themes of the inner child, with especially the trine and fire signs that is going on Tuesday as the moon moves through Leo, trines Chiron, trines the sun, And we do have Mars square Saturn. Like that could be what this is about too, you know, like the challenge to reconnect with like a former version of ourselves that may have been lost somehow, and you know the balance and growth that that would lead to in our ability to move forward or move beyond or overcome or conquer something as well. So there could be, you know, some type of light or fire within us that is seeking to be lit or illuminated this week, and that could be part of what the challenge is to overcome as well. But you know, on the back of the deck we have the Justice card and the Seven of Cups in reverse. Same thing, it's like the questions or the doubts or the, you know, insecurities, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to choose, not knowing maybe what path to take or what's real or what's not, ultimately functioning to like rebalance things somehow, to make things more fair, this reciprocity that could be going on. Like honestly, you could feel just a bit lost in the fog, or again very kind of like low energy and stuff this week with the Sun in reverse, caught up in again like some type of disorientation maybe about what to choose, about where to go. But decisiveness is ultimately, I mean, the Justice card coming through here, like clarity, truth, understanding, knowing what to choose, knowing what's going to be fair, knowing what the right decision is to make. There could be some, with the Six of Pentacles and the Star here also, like there could be something of value that definitely comes through some type of collaborative effort this week. So kind of a lot going on in this tarot reading, but it does seem to be taking us on a progression from like feelings of worthlessness, feelings of lack, feelings of being cast out, or feelings of being lonely, to some type of like inner rebalancing of things based on some connection or some choice or decision or opportunity again. And there is a potential for it to be like re-inspiring, or you know, help us to heal something, or to ultimately put us in this place of like self-discovery, self-empowerment, and you know, self-assertion in that direction of growth, balance, fairness somehow. So there could definitely be themes of what is fair and what is not, and the resistance that we're coming up against, and an inability to choose or decide, or a fear maybe of failure or loss or lack that we are dealing with. But ultimately it does seem like whatever this is going to rebalance things for the better somehow. So that's what I think in terms of the way that all of those cards are in combination together, and maybe what they mean for us as we do move through this astrology this week. Now I'm going to get us one more card, you guys. I'm going to shuffle us out a synchronicity card. This is going to be some guidance or advice from God, Great Spirit, universe, however you connect to that higher power out there. Just what should we keep in mind? What should we tell ourselves? What do we need to know about this energy? And it says, don't overdo. Which I feel like is a point that I have like kind of driven home pretty hard in this video so far. Like, don't try to do the most this week if you don't have to, but let's read this card. It says, don't overdo. Do not worry about what you shall eat, Luke 12:27. If you have a problem with appetite, be it food or any other thing, be not concerned. Thank God for removing the desire to overdo in the consumption of food or any other appetite. So this may be a more minimalistic week, you guys. As I've been saying, we kind of want to pare things back this week. We kind of want to pace ourselves. This is not the week for excess. This is not the week for overload. This is not the week for, you know, really like putting it all out there or doing the most. This is a good week to, you know, maybe take a step back if you need to, take a bit of like that chill pill, put yourself in, you know, an extra nap time or something like that if you can, and just try not to push too hard, because this is one of those things, it's like those finger traps, you know what I mean? It's like the harder you pull, the more it's going to resist against you the other way. Like the more you try to push to achieve or accomplish an outcome, the more you're likely to just get like ridiculous levels of interference and stuff like that. So it's like getting out of quicksand, you know what I mean? Like the best way to navigate the energy is more so to like relax into it and easily pull yourself out of it and slide through it, rather than like really giving it all of your full force and then just like coming up against a wall. So that's it for me today, you guys. That's what I have to say about the energy of the day and as we get started on our week. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you are all some of the people out there that are not facing the more rigid dynamics associated with this energy, and everybody is having a lovely week. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys, share it with your friends if you think they would also enjoy or benefit from this type of astrology content. Leave me comments, let me know what is going on with you out there. If you guys are having experiences that are reflective of the energy, what I'm talking about in this video or any of my videos, drop me a comment, tell me about it, let me know. That's very valuable information to me. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group linked in my description box below where I post images of those boards most of the time. And so if you want to see the full image of that board, check the Facebook group. It will most likely be over there. Other than that, come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. As you already know, we've got some Uranus, Black Moon, Mercury energy to talk about. So that should be a fun time, and I will see you then. Have a beautiful intro to your week, you guys, and until next time, bye.